What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. Today, me and Tucker are going to show you why your baby squash keep dying and how you can fix that. We're also going to grab a harvest and show you how the gardens are growing. Let's go! Before I get into the squash stuff, I gotta show you these grapes. They're just growing out of control. Look how much fruit is on this. These vines, look above me. This is just, more than I've ever had times two at least. These are the Catawba grapes right here, a purple grape. So delicious and so good. On the other side here, we've got the Niagara grapes. Just take a peek at the sheer number of grapes. And look how they just hang down. I love it so much. You look up to the sky and there's so much food. I may have to remove some of these clusters because there's just so many, but when we come down to the vine, you'll notice this is an old grapevine. This thing's like 7 or maybe 8, 10 years old. This was one of the first plants that I actually put into the ground, these two grapes. You'll notice this growth down here. When I see growth down here, these young sprouts, what I do is I just remove them. If you trail up this plant, you'll notice we don't have any of the growth down here. I have all the growth up here because the grapes produce their fruit on the 1-year-old growth. So that's how we have all the grapes just hanging above us. Nice and easy to harvest. There's not enough light getting in here though, so I may have to prune some of these leaves. Let's not spend too much time on the grapes though, because we got a lot of stuff to show. Come this way as we walk by the echinaceas that are just starting to flower. These are gonna be just loaded with flowers soon. One of my favorite flowers. The white currants, they are at their peak right now. So we're eating a lot of these white currants. Beautiful, look at that. Oh, man, that's picturesque, I love it. Let me show you some stuff with this bed, and let's grab a cauliflower. This is a pretty good sized cauliflower head. You'll notice here, look at this thing. Just almost starting to separate, so we're just getting it in time. I've got another cauliflower that's even bigger than this though. Let's grab this one. Man, you love to see it. This right here is real food. I've said it before, the richest people in the world, kings, can't get food this good. Organic, grown in your own backyard, fresh to eat. The only way you get this stuff is if you grow it yourself. Come down here, we've got plenty of other things planted, like these basils right here. Let me show you this purple opal basil right here. This is starting to flower. So once you see your basil starting to flower, what you want to do is just remove those tops and it'll send out more tops. Look at this basil next to me. I removed the top here and then it started to produce more tops and became more of a bushy plant. That's what we want to do. We don't want our basil to flower and finish. We want to just keep growing and that smell just takes over. Come over to this bed here. We've got some beautiful celery growing. Look at that. I've got insane pink celery too that I'll show you in a little bit. We've got beans coming up that are doing fantastic, mulched nicely. And we've got the new cucumber trellis that we put in, doing fantastic. So I'm happy with the way it came out and I think it's gonna produce real well. And then come look at some of these cabbages. This is the glory of Nkuzian cabbage. Look how big these leaves are. This cabbage head is gonna be monster. It's not finished yet, but I'm hoping for big things. All these cabbages are close, but I'll harvest the cabbage in just a little bit. Look at Tuck looking for some fresh snacks. He was chewing on the cabbage. We can give him a little cauliflower, a little piece. He likes this stuff. Cauliflower boy? Yeah, we'll let him snack on that. But let's look up just a little bit and check out these apples. This right here is my favorite all-time flavored apple. This is the Honeycrisp apple. You don't get apples that are better texture and better flavor than this. In my opinion, this is the peak of apple right here. We've got a nice cluster there. We've got clusters down here. And we've got a nice cluster over here. You'll notice people ask a lot, what's the white stuff on all your fruit trees? This is surround kaolin clay. It's specifically designed for using on fruit trees. So if you want to use the clay, make sure you get the surround kaolin clay. That's important. Come this way more. Let's check out this apple. Another beautiful, look at that. Man, do we love to see it. Here's one where I have some clay on more. So when the apples get this big and if I want to put clay on them, I'll just paint the clay on. That's what makes it an easy way to apply it when they're this size. Like look at that one up here. So this thing is going to have some good production on it. Let's move over to this pallet bed and then I promise I'll bring you over to the squash and show you why your baby squash are dying, and I'll give you a few other tips too that'll easily increase your harvest. Cucumbers growing up along there. Tomatoes growing beautifully in the back. These are monster tomatoes you're seeing here. Then we've got every kind of flower you could think. Marigolds down there. Carrots to the right. Beautiful cosmos right here. Monster zinnias. And then we've even got asters in the back. You got to come around the back of the pallet bed though to see the blueberries. we are slowing down when it comes to strawberries, but the blueberries are starting to head towards their production. A nice early sign was I started to see some color. Look at that. Starting to get some nice color and really plump berries. So soon this thing's just gonna be ready to eat. Blueberries are one of my favorite all-time fruits to eat because not only do they taste amazing when you eat them fresh, and the ones that you grow yourself have so much more actual blueberry flavor because of the minerals. But the thing that's amazing is they're so easy to harvest. So the strawberries, sometimes you gotta find them a little tougher to harvest, but the blueberries are so easy to harvest. Notice I have my shadow with me everywhere now that I'm carrying some food. This guy loves his fresh brassicas. But look at these tomatoes right next to me. These are some of the biggest, healthiest tomatoes that I've ever had this early in the season. So I attribute this to all the different kind of techniques and methods that we're applying to our tomato production. And don't forget about the potatoes in the back over here. We're growing a lot of our potatoes in buckets now, and as you can see, they're doing really well, really well. So we're happy with that. Let me bring you into the other food forest though. That's where we have our squash planting that are doing well. That's where I'm gonna show you the important tips about squash. Let's move in. If you guys like the shirts right here and you wanna support the channel, grab one of the exclusive summer merch at jamesprigioni.com. This is only a limited time thing. I love the way they came out. I love just wearing around town and everything, just being a part of the whole grow community. So grab one now at jamesprigioni.com, limited time thing. Let's move over to the squash now. It's in this keyhole raised bed right here. Look how filled out this keyhole raised bed is now. This is probably my favorite bed in the whole garden with how productive it is and how you can just come inside this little area, get like tucked in, surrounded by plants. It's just, it's such a funny place to be. It's really cool. There's so many things growing and it's a great spot. Come in here real quick. I've got a bunch of different kind of squashes, cucumbers, all planted along the fence line. You can see this little English squash. I can't necessarily pronounce the name, but it's starting to show a little squash right there. So that thing right there will turn into a squash if it has the right conditions. Look at Tuck popping there. If it doesn't have the right conditions, it'll die off when it's small, like other squash. That may be one of the problems you're having with a squash. They're dying when they're babies. Let me bring you over to a Costado Romanesco in the back and show you a good example of it. So right here is a Costado Romanesco zucchini, my favorite variety of squash. You'll notice this one in the back. Look how it was small and then it started to die off. So that might be the issue you're having. This one here is doing the same thing, but this one's still alive. So the reason these two died off, it's not because you're having like a pest issue or because you're having a disease issue or anything. Your issue is actually lack of pollination. So when it comes to the squash, there's male and female flowers. Let me bring you close again. The female flowers are the ones that are gonna bear the fruit. So this is a female flower right here. It has a little baby squash at the end. The other English squash I showed you was a female flower also. We need the male flower. We need the pollination from the male flower to pollinate the female in order to get the fruit. So the issue is there's just no bees around right now. So we'll do the job of the bees. We're gonna take this little Q-tip, put it in there, make sure we get a good amount of pollen, and then we could take this pollen and bring it right over to our fruit. So we're just essentially hand pollinating it. So there's no issue with the plant, there's just issue with pollination. If you hand pollinate some of your squash like this will guarantee you an earlier harvest because, especially if you're in a day where the bees just aren't out. So this is a simple tip that can definitely get you earlier squash, which will give you a bigger harvest because it extends your harvest. Another thing you could do is when the squash vine borers come, because that's the biggest issue you're gonna have, say the squash vine borers put a hole in the plant right here. What I will do is I'll root the plant further down. I'll bury the stem and root it. This way it has a new growth point and it can root into the ground. And that essentially makes me extend my whole entire harvest for my squash. So if you're creative, you can definitely extend your harvest and trick some of the pests and all those things. But look at the sheer amount of food in here. I gotta harvest some of these lettuces. I mean, I love seeing it. It's so beautiful. Look at our birdies raised bed right here. We've got Melissa Savoy cabbage that's getting ready to finish. It's almost done heading up. I'm gonna give it a couple more days. We've got a beautiful purple cauliflower back here that's ready to go. I'll give it another day or two also. And then right next to us, I've got a lot of stuff planted in pots in different areas, but we've also got some sweet potatoes planted in pots, which I think is really cool. So these have just started growing, and we've also got more Melissa Savoy cabbage up here doing real well. Look at Tuck, he's looking for a snack so much. Let's go grab him a carrot. I think we have some good carrots in the other birdie's raised bed, the taller one. Look at his nose going. Hey Tucky, come here boy. What are you doing, man? Looking for some fresh carrots? Look at the tomatoes over here too. Looking real nice. Flowers mixed in everywhere. We've got some people sawing in the back and stuff because we just live in a regular suburban neighborhood. So this is just your common backyard. Driving by, you would never notice this garden's back here. Look at the Murdoch cabbage. This is the first time I've grown the Murdoch, and it's so beautiful. I think this is going to be a real large cabbage as it starts to get a little bigger. Next to it, we have the early Jersey Wakefield cabbage. I'm going to harvest one of those in just a couple minutes, a big one that's ready to go. Look at between these cabbages, look, we've got carrots. Tuck, you want a carrot? So with little space, we're still growing some carrots. And I'll tell you, they're coming out pretty dang nice. Look how beautiful that carrot is. This is what happens when you have pretty light soil that's soft that can, move out of the way. The carrot can move the soil out of the way. With too many rocks and stuff, it will restrict it. Look at Tuck just giving me the eye though. This guy knows he wants it. Right, boy? So he hates the tips. We're gonna crack the tip off for him. And then I just wanna wipe it off a little bit to get some of the dirt and stuff, but let's just let bugs go to town. There's a reason we plant a lot of carrots. This guy, he works hard and he usually takes his pay in carrots. So carrots are one of his favorite forms of getting paid, right, boy? This guy earns every single bite of carrot he gets because he's the garden protector and he's also the heart of the garden. Let's let him have more fun with that carrot and keep moving on. I got another cauliflower that I want to grab. This one is probably one of the biggest cauliflowers that I've actually ever grown. It's just about to start flowering, so we're right in time. Come in here. You'll see more cauliflowers, all different kind of cabbages and stuff, but let's get this one. Oh my gosh, this thing's getting massive. Starting to flower a little on the outsides, but look at the size of this thing. My biggest cauliflower ever yet. Look at that. Very nice size to it. Very nice size to it. And then back up a little bit. As the strawberries have started to finish, like I mentioned, the blueberries are on their way. So when you have a diverse number of fruits, it's a lot of fun because every week, every season brings a new kind of flavor, basically. So it makes, even though it's sad to see the strawberries passing their peak production, it's also kind of exciting because that means the next fruit is in line for some great production. Let me bring you over to the pink celery I was talking about. This stuff's really cool. Check this out. This is the Chinese pink celery. Look at the stalks on it. What an incredible color. It's amazing when your food also looks beautiful. You could eat it, but then it also is like, it shows its own character and stuff. I love it. Next to it, we've got some peppers, and then we've also got some chamomile planted here. And then we've got to have the lacinato kale, one of our favorite flavored ones. All beans coming up here. All nice beans here. And then we also got some eggplant that's doing real well too. This is the Japanese white eggplant. So we grow all different colors of eggplant too. Come down this way more. More heads of lettuce. I mean, if you guys have been following along, the amount of lettuce we grew this year is just crazy. I'm trying to keep up with actually eating it. Different kinds of carrots here. Let's see the boss harvest his own. Right here. Get that carrot, boy. Get at it, boy. You got it. Go. You almost got it, Tuck. Keep going. Good boy. You got this, boy. Here he goes. He needs to use a little paw. You got it. It's probably a pretty long one. Right here, boy. You got it. There he goes. He knows it's down there. He's trying to get at it. He's going to get it. You got it. Take it right here, boy. Here you go, boy. I'll help him a little bit. I'll pull it up a little for him. There we go. There he goes. Let me wipe it off for him a little. So these are the Mokum carrots. Pretty quick producer, good flavor, and obviously Tuck approved, clearly. Let's keep moving though. We got more stuff to show. Here's the next round of cauliflower right here. Another one heading up. Looking really nice. We've got more purple cauliflower that's getting ready also. Look up a little bit. Can't forget more apples. This is our earliest producing apple, the Williams Pride. This is the one that finishes the first. An early apple with great flavor, and it's done in like August. I mean, eating apples in August, that's great. Come on this side too. We've got a lot of stuff. We've got the more purple cauliflowers that are heading up. This one's gonna be bigger than the other one because you can just tell the plant is so much bigger. And like I mentioned, the early Jersey Wakefield. This one's not even our biggest one that's ready. We've got another one ready behind me that's bigger. Check this out here. Check out the early Jersey Wakefield Beast. This thing is looking great. I'd say it's good enough to harvest. And the stems on the cabbages gets so big that I can't use these. I just got to use the monster lopers. So let's cut this baby out. Cabbage is just such dense, amazing food. Bink. If you haven't harvested something like this before, you got it. It's so much fun. I love just peeling back the leaves. It's like Christmas morning. See what we're gonna get. Dense, incredible food. You can't top the early Jersey Wakefield. It's one of my favorite all-time cabbages. It's got great disease resistance. I'm in New Jersey, so it just makes sense to grow. And if you come down here, you'll notice I didn't rip the whole cabbage out. I could have cut it just a little higher, but this thing will still try to shoot out and create little mini cabbages. So we'll let that go for a couple days, for a little while, see if we can get some mini cabbages. Next to me here, we got the, look at that, the bronze mignonette lettuce, doing fantastic. Tuck snacking on the stems. What, did you never eat something, boy? How many snacks have you had already? This guy always wants more, he's hilarious. Dougie, how many snacks are you gonna eat? Let's keep moving, we've got some other stuff to show though. More eggplants in the back doing real good. Different kinds of kales. More basil. Here's the green basil. Look at this, flowering at the top. That's not what we want to see. Let's top that. Let's remove the growth right there. Redistribute the growth to the leaves so we get more leaf production, because that's what we want when it comes to basil. Check out the fence line. All you got to do is pull the leaves back and you'll see all the grapes. So many grapes. Keep coming down this way. Look at here, down here. More and more grapes. So we're going crazy with the grapes now, but we love growing them, we love eating them. You'll notice I've switched some things around where it's like I have so many strawberries now, so many blueberries, so many grapes, so many apple trees, because that's the things that I love to eat. So one of the secrets to gardening and continuing to garden for years is you have to grow things that get you excited. I love cabbages so much. So all year I'm waiting for my cabbage harvest. Now that it's here, it's bittersweet because the season's gonna come to a close soon, but it's the season for something else, so it's so fun. Tomatoes setting up, looking really nice. And let's just keep looking along the grapes. I mean, this is gonna be a crazy grape harvest. Looks like we're gonna have to try to make some wine or something because the amount of grapes is absolutely extreme. I'll tell you what though, the raspberries have started to come in as well. So I gotta bring you over to the side garden, show you some of the black cap raspberries and some of the blueberries too, because they just look amazing. We're over at the side garden now, and it's time to grab our first blueberries of the season. These are these small varieties I got from like Home Depot or Lowe's one time. I'm not even sure the actual variety, but they're tiny, and look how many berries they have. The plants are tiny, but the production isn't tiny. Let's grab a fresh blueberry, like this one here. Nice. This one here. This one here. You gotta have a handful. Look at this baby. Love to see it. These are not Tuck approved. Tuck can't eat the blueberries, but we will enjoy every bite of it. Look at this. Like I said, it's not the worst thing in the world that the strawberries are on their way out. It's blueberry time. Absolute smack in the face of flavor. I showed you my smallest blueberry bush, loaded with fruit. Now check out the biggest one. Look at this thing with me hiding behind it. Look at how much fruit it has, and some of them are ripening. Like this here. This one's ripe enough for me. Right here. Oh, soon this is the amount of fruit. Look at these ones in here. Too many berries. This garden back here, I've always called it my food forest that specializes in berry production. Blueberries everywhere. Let me bring you to a spot over on the left here where we have tayberries and boysenberries. Also, different varieties of blueberries, some that are ready later. We don't want all of our harvests of everything at the same time. We want to stagger these harvests by planting different varieties, so we love doing that. Come closer. Berries over here. Another monster bush. You can tell the different varieties by the way the leaves are shaped, the color of the leaves, and also when they're producing. Look at this bush. One of the magnificent things about them is I have not given this thing fertilizer since I planted it. I don't water it either. All I do is I put it in the ground, get wood chips around it, and just let nature do its job because it seems to be pretty good at doing what it does. Take a look in the back though. This is what I was talking about earlier. What I like to call the sea of black cap raspberries. This is my favorite flavored raspberry. They're just getting close. These aren't red when they're ripe, they're dark purple, black even. That's why they're called the black caps. So look at this, incredible production in a small area. You don't want to walk through these because they're pointy, but we have the trellis up here. Oh, here's one ready. The first black cap of the season. This thing's not gonna hide from me. These ones have an insane flavor. So the raspberries, the yellow raspberries, are probably my favorite, maybe overall flavor. Very sweet, very mild. You could eat 100 of them. These are just exploding with flavor. You taste one, it's got the tar, a little bit of the tar, then it hits you with the sweet, and then I've talked about it before, but it like reminds me of a warhead, if you've ever had those when you're a kid. They're so good. So let's try one of these. First one of the year. It's such a unique, delicious flavor. They have some little seeds in them, but the flavor is, it's hard to explain with words how good it is. Look to my left here. The Asian pear is getting weighed down with how many pears it has on it. So, I mean, how close is this? Pears, raspberries, blueberries, unlimited food. Growing it at home, organic, and getting to eat it fresh right from the garden. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. It's just so much fun walking down Tomato Alley. These tomatoes are loaded with flowers. Soon they'll have fruit. Soon we'll be harvesting the fruit and eating more fresh food. Nothing like it. Me and Tuck want to make sure we keep all of you encouraged. If you don't have a lot of space, if you don't have any space, you still should be growing some of your food. Look at right here. This is a 5-gallon bucket. We're growing like 10, 12 carrots in there, getting close to production. Purple carrots too. In a small little bucket here, we've got celery growing. So don't make up excuses. I heard someone say once, an excuse is really just a well-planned lie. So don't lie to yourself saying you can't grow food. If you have the opportunity, even if you have a little patio, get something in the ground, tap into nature. It's an access door to nature. It really is growing your own food. You can become part of it again, become part of the system, and I call it like being a real human again. And it's so much fun. Tuck had a blast out here, so did I. From Tuck and me, we want to thank one of our new channel members, Eric Newcomer. Thank you for being a part of Team Grow, from the boss himself and from me. So we're just really thankful that you're a part of that. We want to mention to check out the merch at jamesprigioni.com, the exclusive summer merch, limited time. Absolutely my favorite design. I love wearing this around town, not wearing like Nike or Adidas or something like that, just supporting growing. So we love the merch so much. Grab some while you still can, basically. James and Tuck will be back to you again real soon. We